Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, degenerates of all ages, welcome to the first inaugural show of Burnt Coverage. I'm your host, Joel.
And I'm Curtis.
What we're doing here is we both love drinking, we both love fantasy football, so we decided why not put it on camera. What we're going to do is we're going to deal with mainly weekly and daily fantasy leagues, the big boys primarily, FanDuel and DraftKings. And we're going to give you what we think are good values, what are good plays that week. And we both have made a decent amount of money doing it, so we figured why not try to make someone else some money.
Or at least try to steal yours.
And there you have it. So yes, Burnt Coverage. Here we go. You want to start off?
Sure, why not? Well, one of the games that I'm really excited about this week is the Detroit Lions versus the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Wait, say that again. What game are you excited about?
Don't make me say it again.
The Jacksonville Jaguars. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, one of the reasons I'm excited is because it's actually going to be on TV. This might be the one time that the Jacksonville Jaguars will be on TV until they have the first pick in the draft next year. The Jaguars do have some interesting players, some lower-end value plays that a lot of people have been hyping up, one of which is Allen Robinson. So if you've been hearing this name, Allen Robinson, and you're like, who the f*** is Allen Robinson? This will be your chance to see who the f*** Allen Robinson is. They also have Allen Hurns, who had a big week last year in the first week, is projected to be their number 2 receiver. Both of these guys are moderate to low-end prices in week 1, so it'll be interesting to see how they hold up against a top-notch Detroit defense. The Detroit defense this year could be one of the sleeper picks and not just your regular draft, but weekly in fantasy. They have Nada replacing Sue. It is a bit of a downgrade, even though Nada's probably a Hall of Famer, but he's at the tail end of his career. But they were probably, if not really, the best defense in the league last year.
What? I mean, they were a really good run defense, but they couldn't stop the pass to save their lives.
Well, to be fair, they had a lot of people on offense, the Lions did, putting up a good amount of points.
True, but I mean, they gave up, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but they gave up something like 260 passing yards a game. So they were, at best, middle of the pack passing defense-wise. Their run defense, yes, but you're also subtracting Sue, like you said. So I'm not as high on the Detroit defense as my co-host here.
Well, I will say I am high on Detroit because they're playing Jacksonville. So if they don't look good this week, they're probably not going to look good the rest of the year. Also, they have looked good in preseason. They put RG3 out of commission. They held the Jets to 3 points. I know these aren't high-powered offenses.
I could have done both of those things by myself as well.
But still, it is interesting to see what Detroit might do and possibly crush this Jacksonville team. But Jacksonville, you know, the receivers, also TJ Yeldon should be making his debut this week. So that's something we can look forward to possibly. And if he can have any traction against Detroit's defense, then that's promising for his draft status. Another guy that's a middle-of-the-road price for week 1. Also in Detroit, Golden Tate will be the only star receiver. No Calvin Johnson this week. He's been having a good preseason. I expect him to have a good game. And then what I really want to focus on, though, is the running backs for Detroit. There's going to be 3 running backs that are going to be playing. None of them are named Joik Bell. Sorry, Joel.
I love me some Joik.
It's true. He does love him some Joik. But Joik Bell is actually being pushed by their rookie, Amir Abdullah. They also have Theoretic, who plays their third downs, theoretically. And Zach Zenner, who was a rookie draft pick for them, who's made a little noise in the preseason, albeit in the third and fourth quarters. He could make a spot on the roster with a decent showing this week.
Zach Zenner, I don't know. I'm not believing the Abdullah hype. I know he's not a sleeper pick anymore. He might as well be a future Hall of Famer with the amount of print that he's been getting. But I still think Joik's not going to play this game, but I think Joik is still going to be the bell cow in that offense. I think Abdullah at best will be a change of pace back. Next year is a completely different story, but we're not trying to make money for you next year. We're trying to make money for you this week. Also, I believe I'm on the same page with you with Allen Robinson. I think Allen Robinson's not only going to have a big week, but I think Allen Robinson is in for a huge year. I am buying as many shares of Allen Robinson that I can in every fantasy form that is available.
You know he does play for Jacksonville, right?
I am absolutely aware. And Blake Bortles, while he is Blake Bortles, he will get better. And who's their tight end?
Well, right now it's Mercedes Lewis, but I know where you're going with
Exactly.
this.
Their tight end is
Julius
former
Thomas.
Denver Bronco Julius Thomas. So that is a huge safety net for Blake Bortles. Blake Bortles is a starting quarterback in the NFL. I can say that for him. And while he may not be a very good starting quarterback, he is going to get better. He will progress now that he has more offensive weapons around him. In case you don't know me, full disclosure, I am a Philadelphia Eagles fan, so I'm going to start with the Eagles-Packers game. Eagles in Green Bay, and the Eagles fresh off the 40-17 shellacking, that's right, shellacking, of the Baltimore Ravens. Friendly flip of the finger to Terrell Suggs for trying to take out my boy Sam Bradford's knees in the preseason. Week 2 of the preseason, don't go after a quarterback's knees. Come on, it's Bush League, bro. But anyway, so what I'm looking for in this game, I'm not just being a homer. I really think the Eagles defense is going to make strides this year. They have a completely revamped secondary, and little insider information this week in practice, they have moved their second-round rookie pick, Eric Rowe, to the outside cornerback position and moved Nolan Carroll, formerly of Miami Dolphins fame, to the slot, to the nickel corner. So I'm really curious to see how Eric Rowe handles himself and covers the Davante Adams, because I think Davante Adams will be running the outside in place of Jordy Nelson. And I'm also curious to see how Jeff Janis does this week. Jeff Janis is the 4th wide receiver, is now bumped up to the number 3 wide receiver position in the unfortunate loss of Jordy Nelson. So number 3 wide receiver in Green Bay's offense is always going to get targets. And I think Aaron Rodgers, when he's in this week, I don't know how much he's going to play again, but I think that he's going to try to develop a rapport with him just because this is a team with Super Bowl aspirations. We'll see how that develops. That's what I'm going to be watching for.
Well, what about Randall Cobb? It seems like he's kind of the lost man in this.
No, Randall Cobb is Randall Cobb. It's like Demaryius. If we talk about Denver, there's no need to talk about Demaryius Thomas. We know Demaryius Thomas is one of the top 3 wide receivers in the NFL, fantasy or real, doesn't matter. Randall Cobb's going to get his targets. Randall Cobb is going to get his yards. Randall Cobb is going to get his touchdowns. I don't think that he is going to get that much more than he got last year, even in the absence of Jordy Nelson. I think it will be more of a spread out offense with the likes of Davante Adams and, like I said, the Jeff Janis. I keep forgetting his name.
Jeff Janis.
I'll remember his name by week 4, maybe. And I know also their tight end. There's talks of getting the tight ends more involved in the Green Bay offense, which we haven't seen since the Brett Favre days. And I know you're a big fan of their tight end.
Yeah, I really like Richard Rodgers. I think that he's proven himself. Corliss had the inside track, and Richard Rodgers took it away from him. He's been productive in the preseason. Also be on the lookout for Montgomery. That's another guy that is a Green Bay possible 3rd receiver. But I think even if he ends up 4th and Janis ends up 3rd or vice versa, you've always got to look at these guys every week. And if either of these guys are going to be low-end plays, especially week 1 against Chicago, I think they're worth looking at.
Especially, and Chicago's defense is well documented to be high school caliber. So yeah, absolutely.
I guess we should also say too that week 1, there's going to be a lot of low-end plays, and we'll get into some of those later. But they released all of these salaries very early, way too early.
But they're early in reality, but that's what we're here for. We pick them out and we take advantage of them, and that's really how the key to success in these daily leagues.
You need to find one, if not two, of the low-end guys to be able to afford the high-end guys that you think are going to win you money.
Yes, and also full disclosure, Curtis is always a fan of a tight end in Green Bay.
Oh yeah, I'll always take any tight end you can give me.
It's very cold.
Thank you.
What's your next game, Kurt?
I got Minnesota-Dallas. So this is an intriguing game for a lot of reasons. These are both defenses that are good at one thing and bad at the other. Minnesota's is being bad at the run. So this is an excellent opportunity for whoever wants the Dallas running back starting job to take a hold of it. We saw Darren McFadden rush for 4 yards in the last week's, I think it was actually 4 yards, rushed for 4 yards in last week's preseason game. And then Randall the week before didn't do much either. They both are dealing with injuries, something we're accustomed to with McFadden, of course. So we'll see who actually wants to get it against a pretty bad defense. I'm also not expecting much of a passing game. Dez will be limited if he plays at all. And then the rest of Dallas's receiving core isn't that hot. Terrence Williams, Cole Beasley. These are guys always to be left, almost always to be left on your FanDuel or DraftKings or weekly site. I do like Minnesota quite a bit. They have a lot of weapons that I'm really excited about now. Charles Johnson is a guy is an emerging wide receiver. He came on a little bit at the end of last year, but I think actually I think having Matt Wallace on the team is actually going to help Charles Johnson. He might not get the first corner sometimes, and Bridgewater is an extremely efficient quarterback. Bridgewater and Tannehill are probably the two best young quarterbacks outside of Luck and Wilson. They're very efficient. They're very smart. They're both mobile. They can get out of the pocket if they need to. I'm just really excited to see what this Minnesota team can do. I think a lot of people have them as a sleeper playoff pick. I don't know if I'm going to go that far. I think still the Packers, even without Jordy Nelson and Detroit's defense, are going to keep them a little bit ahead of Minnesota, but they're a fun team to watch. Also, we have AP. Well, not this week because AP never plays in the preseason, but I think that's actually going to help Bridgewater's growth and efficiency because he won't be the focus of the offense. Everybody's going to be trying to stop AP. It's also good for Bridgewater to be playing Dallas because Dallas was 26 against the pass last year. So this could be quite a showing for Bridgewater, who's already had a fantastic preseason. I'm excited for all of his targets. Kyle Rudolph's another guy to watch if he can stay healthy. He's been productive when he's been able to be on the field. And I think it'll be a fun game.
I forget Dallas also just had a huge injury this past week.
Scandrick. Yeah. Orlando Scandrick, who is their top corner.
He's the slot guy. He covers the slot receiver. So I don't know. Kyle Rudolph could be a really strong play. Maybe in Cordarrelle Patterson appearance. I don't know, but whoever, all season long, whoever is going to be running, who's ever the slot wide receiver against Dallas, play that guy. Play him because he was one of their best quarterbacks last year.
Yeah. And there's some good speed guys in the NFC East.
Yeah,
too,
absolutely.
So,
there's one or two.
One or two, and we won't talk about what team those guys are on. Joel?
Just to piggyback, so the Charles Johnson thing, I think Charles Johnson is in for a big year as well. He didn't catch his first touchdown pass until week 10 last year. And from week 10 on, Teddy Bridgewater was the 11th best fantasy quarterback. So, I don't know, we'll see. It's very promising. I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to turn some heads this year. On to the next game. I'm going to go with the Houston Texans at the New Orleans Saints. The Houston Texans this week named Brian Hoyer as their starting quarterback. So let's see. I've been watching the Hard Knocks. I know that you probably have been too. And I think that's the right call over Ryan Mallett. I think Ryan Mallett has a great arm, but I think Brian Hoyer is a better game manager, and I think that he plays to the strengths that Houston has. And I really believe that Houston's offense is being completely overlooked in this preseason with all of the pundits that are talking.
I think Alfred Blue is in for a strong year. Granted, it's only probably going to be a month and a half tops before Arian Foster comes back. Arian Foster has an incredible ability to come back from injuries much quicker than any human should. But
and we've seen this from Arian Foster a dozen times, having a dozen injuries and coming back from them.
Absolutely, and so they're saying 6 weeks, so I would not, in a month, I expect to see Arian Foster. But for 4 weeks, I'll buy all Alfred Blue stocks non-stop, especially with Brian Hoyer, DeAndre Hopkins, but what I really want to focus on here is New Orleans Saints. New Orleans Saints had a really bad year last year. They had an injury to their number 1 draft pick last year, which is Brandon Cooks. He's healthy. They did lose Jimmy Graham. We all know that. But Drew Brees looks back to his regular self. He looks back to 2009 Drew Brees. I think he's going to be an amazing, amazing quarterback this year, and I think that's already started out. There's no reason to expect that to stop now. But the big talk is the big talk is Brandon Coleman. I'm not a believer in Brandon Coleman. We'll see. He's a number 3 at best. He's a huge specimen. He's 6'6", 225. But Marquez Colston is the same height. So it's the same thing. It's the same receiver, 10 years younger. What have you done for me lately? What I'm really interested in seeing is the use of C.J. Spiller in this offense. Because I think C.J. Spiller fills in the old Darren Sproles role as the scat back, catching passes out of the backfield, a lot of wheel routes. And so I think he's going to be a PPR monster. And I think that starts this week.
Spiller's been getting a lot of talk. Another guy that just because of injury issues, I'm a little afraid of.
Well, Grant.
I'm still pretty big on Mark Ingram. He's a decent receiver out of the backfield. He's a strong runner. He had good success last year.
I know, like your man crush of Darrelle Reeves is only seconded by your man crush of Mark Ingram, but I don't know. I get it.
It was just a summer of love with Mark Ingram.
I don't think he's a 3-down back. I think he's good for this offense, but I think their signing of C.J. Spiller, that was Sean Payton admitting that they should not have let Darren Sproles go, and Darren Sproles was really the main cog in that offense, which was made.
Well, Drew Brees was really upset when they got rid of
and it really, like, that aspect of the offense makes defensive coordinators really game plan for that area, and I think C.J. Spiller will fit that role really, really well because he's got he's 5 years younger than Darren Sproles.
Yeah, and I'll say Spiller's an awesome talent. It's only injuries that I'm worried about.
Yes,
but the Saints have a knack for keeping awesome talent around, and there's another guy on the Saints that doesn't get any mention, and I think anybody that's seen him play will agree with me, but Kyrie Robinson is a fantastic back, and I wouldn't be surprised if anything did happen to Ingram or Spiller or both, because they both have injury issues, that Kyrie Robinson could be a very solid player.
I think Robinson is the true handcuff to Ingram if he does get hurt, because I don't think that they throw Spiller into that role. I think that Spiller will stay the 3rd-down back, and Kyrie Robinson is more of the 2-down back between the tackles runner. And yeah, so there's a lot of promise, but that's a what if.
It's true.
Type scenario.
It's true. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us this week, preseason week 3. And we hope that you will join us week 1. We're going to skip week 4 because it's a bunch of bullshit. Who cares? It's just guys trying to make the team. And
I'll watch it.
I mean, we'll both watch it, but we won't be happy about it.
And we won't talk about it on camera.
That's for sure. So check out our Facebook page, Burnt Coverage. We're the Burnt Coverage team. I'm Curtis.
I'm Joel. He's Burnt. I'm Coverage.
And we will see you in 2 weeks.
Do we have a catchphrase? Tagline?
Oh, we do. We put your money where our mouth is. See you soon.
We need a new tagline.
We'll work on it. I gotta piss.
Me too.